I'm David Volk, a voice of the resistance, albeit a strange and annoyed one. Today's post, an open letter to Jeff Bezos. Dear Mr. Not So Clean. Oh, I get it now. When you made the Washington Post slogan, "Democracy dies in darkness," in 2017, you didn't mean it as a warning. You meant it as an instruction. It's kind of like that old Twilight Zone episode where aliens from Kennemet show up on Earth and convince Earthlings to take a free visit to their planet. But there's a secret. A cryptographer translates a title of one of their books as "To Serve Man," and many are happy to visit what they are told is paradise, only later it turns out that the book is a cookbook, and the passengers are the main course. Yes, they're going on a pleasure cruise, it's just that it's for the aliens' pleasure, not theirs. Come to think of it, Jeff, you do kind of look like a Kennemet. And so it is with the Washington Post. You promised great things when you purchased the publication that took down a president and saved our democracy. Like the Kennemets, you made us believe that a weird-looking guy had our best interest at heart. In the old Twilight Zone episode, the Kennemets arrive when the planet is in great upheaval and solve many of our biggest problems. They solve shortages of energy and food, and even use technology to end warfare. You may not have accomplished all these miracles, but you made us believe that you would continue taking on Dementia J. Trump directly and indirectly, that your writers would continue to afflict the comfortable and comfort the afflicted, and that your newly acquired publication would help us keep democracy's lights burning bright. You did it so convincingly that you even made "Democracy Dies in Darkness" the paper's slogan 4 years after you purchased it. The catch is, you did it as you slowly took actions that dimmed the paper's bright light, like bringing in management from Rupert Murdoch, read pro-Trump, papers to shore up the ship, spiking an election editorial endorsing Kamala Harris over Rip Van Winkle, which I'm sure shocked you by happily shedding thousands of subscribers along the way, and then you limited the paper's coverage to, quote, personal liberties and free markets, whatever the hell those are. I'm guessing those personal liberties don't include the freedom from being molested or raped by Republican politicians, or those named in the Epstein files, which, for once, isn't something I'll call another story for another time. It is the story for this time. All of them should be released, and since no one bothered to redact the names of victims, your paper should call for the unredactions of the names of perpetrators. Or do you oppose the personal liberties of women? Oops. I guess I got a little carried away there for a minute, expecting the fourth estate to protect us and all, even though multi-billionaires like you own all of the outlets. Silly me. I forgot that the only way to ensure the continued existence of a free press is to own one. And once you own it, you can do whatever the hell you want with it. Isn't that right, Jeffy? And while your name may or may not be in the Epstein files, you sure had your way with the paper and the hundreds of staffers you laid, off last week. You stripped the sports section. You peeled off much of the paper's international coverage. You shed book reviews, and you denuded local coverage in a town where the main industry is the federal fucking government, leaving little behind but the newspaper's name for it to cover itself with. And why? Because the paper wasn't making enough money. Jeff. Journalism isn't a money-making enterprise. It never has been. It's a public trust. I'm sorry. That's a phrase no one ever uses anymore in the age of Trump. Public, yes. Trust, not so much. Let's look at that for a minute, though. The paper lost about $100 million last year at a time when you bought out the city of Venice for a wedding that cost $56 million. Granted, the money wasn't a for-profit operation, but your small book company, Amazon, is. And that company only made just a cool $638 billion last year. If you subtract $100 million loss, the $100 million loss from $638 billion, you still have, let's see, let me do the math. Carry the 1, turn the 3 into a 12, here it is, a fuck ton of money. It's chump change, dude. It's equivalent to your wife Loretta's walking around money. It's the approximate value of a diamond earring the hired help might find in the couch cushions while cleaning up after a visit from J.V. Vance. My point is, the cutbacks really weren't necessary. You just did them because you could. And you've hung us out to dry with an administration that believes some of the books you sell, like 1984 and The Handmaid's Tale, that's The Handmaid's Tale, aren't so much works of fiction as they are instruction manuals. My other point is that you get to determine how your name and your company go down in history, and it's not looking so good for you right now. People remember Winston Churchill because he stood up to Hitler. They remember industrialist Oskar Schindler because he rescued thousands from sure death in Nazi concentration camps right under the nose of the Nazis. Hell, they even remember robber baron / greedhead Andrew Carnegie because he believed education was so important that he built libraries that still bear his name, even if his name is obscured by signs or whatever. And who can forget Carnegie Mellon University? At the same time, there are others who were once so important a part of our landscape that they were household names. Remember Frank W. Woolworth? He founded a chain of drugstores that were in every major city in the country, complete with soda fountains. But when was the last time you heard someone mention Woolworths? Remember Alva Curtis Roebuck or Richard Warren Sears? They were the guys who founded Sears and Roebuck, later Sears, that once had catalogs in every house, shipped home building kits to the boonies, and had a store in every mall. Back in the 70s, when Frank Zappa sang, "Is it real or is it Sears?" it was America's largest retailer. And now, it's nowhere to be found. Gretzky's, Blockbuster, Pan Am, TWA, the list goes on and on and on. And if you think Amazon is immune, you haven't been paying attention. And then there are names that have become synonymous with good and bad. Someone who is called an Einstein is considered smart. A Houdini is someone who manages to escape from tight situations. And something that's Herculean requires great effort. At the same time, a Quisling is an enemy collaborator. A Benedict Arnold is a traitor. A Nosy Parker is a busybody. And a Mickey is a drug slipped into an unsuspecting person's drink. I wonder what your name will come to mean. Will it be innovator, recalling how you revolutionized the mail order business and the internet? As in, ooh, he really did a Bezos on that industry. Or will it mean a boss who seems to care for his employees by providing many treats and food and stuff, only so they won't notice how hard you work them when they'd rather be home with their families? As in, those workers sure made a deal with the Bezos. Or, given the slave-driving pace you set in your warehouses and delivery vehicles where workers / drivers barely have enough time for a piss break, will your name be the equivalent of a Charles Dickens character that many people can't remember? Like Jeff Ebenezer Scrooge or Jeff Bezos Scrooge? Only this time Dickens is dead, and no one will be sending you 3 ghosts to save your sorry greedhead ass. This one's on you, dude. Besides, most self-respecting ghosts have one up on your workforce. They've unionized, and their local "We Scare Because We Care" number 567 advised against getting anywhere near you. Don't get us wrong. We aren't waiting around for you to save us. We know we'll have to save ourselves because you think workers are expendable on the altar of AI. But who will save you, Jeff Bezos, when customers discover you are delivering inferior service? Who will save you? And why should we even care? Yes, you're riding high now, but when you don't have employees to double-check AI's financial assumptions, where will you be? And where will you be when your AI gets the orders wrong and sends 101 copies of the Cruella de Vil film to customers who order it? Where will you be? And when your customer service bot starts responding to customer complaints with racist comments and there's no human there to fix it, where will you be? For those whose businesses rely too heavily on AI may just as easily die on the point of the very same sword. To paraphrase a quote from one of the books your company supposedly still sells, ask not for whom the AI tolls, Jeffy, it tolls for thee. I've been David Volk, a voice of the resistance, albeit a strange and long-winded one.